Hi, this is a training on the administrative functions of the Solarix platform with BenAware. First, I'm going to start though with the data collection process that we have in place. This link that you see here is BenAware's online workbook, a place where you and the client and broker are able to go to give us the information for the build of the system. So contact information, eligibility, rules and rates, classes, and so on. I'll just show you what that looks like. So once we set you up in the system, you're going to receive a link and access, login to this site. We also have an admin guide that we'll send you. It's a PDF document that walks you through the administration of the system, how to process new hires, terminations, and qualified life events, as well as how to complete the online workbook. So we're in a demo case here. It just has our logo. And so basically you kind of just go down the line and complete these different options here. Contact information, broker contact information, carrier information, because we're going to be collecting the contact information for the carrier so we can set up those files to be delivered. Eligibility, payroll, and then the plan details here gives us the information we need. So let's just say the medical plan, for example. If I go to view and edit, how many plans are available, tax status, any special eligibility. Some groups have contributions based on tenure. Some groups have it based on salary. Most groups have it just based on class. So we need that type of information. If there is a PPO, is there a primary care physician required? If so, we need the link for that, which we'll embed in the system. The plan name, and then of course the rates and contributions. One major, very important thing here is default coverage. So what happens if an employee does not enroll? What happens to their medical plan? Are they rolled over to the plan they have today, or are they defaulted to no coverage? We just need to know what those rules are for each product. So that's an example of the online workbook and very basic information that we collect there. If I go back out to the main page, I want to show you one thing. There's a census template here and a location listing template as well. The census data that we will capture from you is in a very specific format because it loads straight up into the system with no manual manipulation from us. So if I click on that, all of our documents come out in an Excel spreadsheet. The census template has 3 tabs, basically. So we have the employee tab that has, these are the items that are required. Again, just basic demographic information on the employee. If I scroll over, you are going to see that we're going to need location, job class, department, if that's a requirement, anything that's required for eligibility purposes and also for billing purposes with your carriers need to be identified up front. Spouse and dependents tab, we hardly ever get this information, but if you have it, we will load it. So it makes the enrollment process go quicker, but this is not mandatory. Current benefits, also nice to have, so that when an employee logs in, they can see which medical plan they're in, at what tier, at what contribution, before they go through the new options. So if we have this information, it's good to have, but not a requirement. Items that require evidence of insurability, like life insurance and disability. It's nice to have that information because the system is able to apply the rule for guarantee issue and then for exceeding guarantee issue. We can embed the EOI form, a link out to the carrier to complete EOI online, and all kinds of special instructions directly to the employee on what the process is, if we know how much they need. But again, that's optional. So that's the census template. The location listing template is very basic. It just tells us by the name of your location and address, contact person of your locations, and then number of employees, and any shift work if you have shifts. This helps us to plan out the actual enrollment schedule if we're going on site to meet with employees. So that's the online workbook and the census. When I go to the system, I'm just going to log in as myself here. This is the admin side of the system. There's also a self-service side for the employees to access. When I log in, I have, again, just a demo, so it has our logo here, our look and feel. There are certain things that as an administrator you're going to need to do. So you're going to need to add a new employee. If we go to enrollment and new employee, I simply key in the information, the demographic information and employment information for this employee all the way through, and then hit create employee. It's as simple as that. That's all I need to do to add an employee on a one-off basis. Originally, we're going to take a census, but otherwise, that's how you do it. If I go into enrollment and employees, I can pull up any employee here, and I'm going to show you how to process a termination. So if I go into test tester here, and I change the current status to terminated, let's say resignation, or any of these other options. If I terminate this employee, it's going to terminate them with today's date, but I can backdate that or future date that. That data, that notification, will be sent out to all of the carriers, to your payroll vendor, and to your COBRA vendor if we set up that file. It'll go on the next weekly file, or whatever frequency you set those up at. So that's how you terminate an employee. You scroll down to the bottom and hit save, and that's it. It goes on the next file. Let me put this person back to active, and I'll show you a qualified life event. So to process a life event, you just click on the life events tab. You choose the reason for the life event. Employees don't have access to this. Only an administrator can do this because we want you to have control of these changes. So whatever the reason is, one default one we kind of use a lot is enable enrollment manually. There's no true reason for it. Hit next. And then we put in the data. So let's say they can enroll until today. Forced effective date, I can make it whatever. Reason type, administrative change is common, but you can put whatever you want. Now, if you check, this is very important, if you check allow employee to change personal information, they'll be able to do that. You are going to want to select the plan that they're able to change. It could be just the medical plan. But if you choose this box here, coverage tier change only, they will not be able to change from the high deductible medical plan to the PPO. They can only change within the tier of the plan they're already enrolled in. So just make a note of that because that's a common mistake. So if we say this person can change to medical, I can either unlock it now so that the employee can go back in and self-service, change their plan, or I can just go ahead and do it myself by hitting re-enroll if I choose to do that. So now I'm able to go in and make the change. So currently in high deductible, employee only for $100. If I click on review here, now I'm able to change. Outside of open enrollment, outside of my initial eligibility, I can change coverage. One thing I also want to show is that for products that require EOI, like we talked about before, the system has the ability of pending deduction amounts above guarantee issue. So that means if this employee is currently enrolled in, let's say, 175, and let's say 175 is a GI maximum, guarantee issue max. If they increase at all above this, the system will pend the deduction amount above guarantee issue. So we will only pass the deduction to your payroll vendor for the amount that is approved. The remaining amount is then pended within our system until that approval comes from the carrier to you. And I'll show you how to unpend that as well. So if I go and exceed, we can put all kinds of information in here. We can put the link to the EOI. We can put the EOI itself to be downloaded or printed, or instructions on how to get an EOI and how to get it turned in. Beneficiary. So here's an example. You're going to need an EOI. Here's how to do it. Here's how much you've applied for. Here's how much you're currently approved for, etc. And then what I want to try to do here is waive everything else for sake of time. Can't waive basic life. It's a company paid benefit. So 375 was my actual approved amount. So you can see that only the 375 passes over on the confirmation form. And then that'll be the same case in the data. So once I sign the form and complete the enrollment, I have a congratulations showing me that the enrollment is finished. And if I hit return here and come back to the front, if I go to the home screen, the home page, which is that dashboard that you get initially when you sign in as an administrator, now it shows me I have one pending here. So let me show you how to take care of that. So that's the person I just enrolled, our tester. Now, let's say that the insurance company has contacted you that tester is approved for the additional $100,000 of coverage. All that you do is check them, hit accept, and that's it. The remaining deduction amount will now be processed. It'll be passed over to your payroll vendor on the next file, so that this avoids having to do refunds for employees that enroll in amounts above guarantee issue, and then if they're not approved, you have to go back and refund them. So in this demonstration, I've shown you the online workbook and the process for completing that. I showed you the census template that we need completed, and the 3 tabs. Employee information is the only required tab. We do need it in our format. I showed you the system and how to add a new hire, how to process a qualified life event, and also how to unpend a pended deduction amount above guarantee issue.